experienced or done cohorts before, you'll know that we like to keep it really collaborative. We like to learn off each other and build on from there. But my journey, I've probably had about 17 years of product management experience to date, with various companies of all different sizes. So everything from a very small startup right through to working with one of our leading product companies in New Zealand, Xero. Explore, again, I would say it sits around about 1,800 employees globally, so working with global teams on a regular basis and delivering value through cross-functional teams. Yeah, I'll carry on. But first, before we dive into the content for today, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Colab and where that was born from. So Colab combines participation in cohort-based programs with access to content and community to help product people and their companies scale. Now, as I mentioned, for those that have done a cohort before, whether it be product fundamentals or one of the strategy ones, you'll understand that we really like to draw on the experience in the market and the people who are working in product on a day-to-day basis. The content that we use is written by people working in product today. So the advanced product management cohort, which I run, I've had the opportunity to customize it for the Australasian region as well. So drawing on some of my experience and people within the industry as well to help shape it and make it targeted towards the types of companies and industry that we're working in here. But it was really born out of thinking about how we bring learning and application together with community. So at Colab, we've built up a community of people, over 300 people already who have gone through cohorts today. It's based on live cohort-based programs so that we can kind of learn off each other as we go, but it is facilitated content. So there is, good learnings that we share along the way, but we like to look at how we apply that through the industry. We also generate real-world learning. So some of the artifacts that are created and some of the different resources that we use are built from product people today working in the industry. And it's really about creating a long-term learning plan with you to help grow you in your product discipline. As I mentioned, 300 successful cohort participants. We're seeing that grow all the time. Every quarter, we're running multiple programs. We're sitting at an average NPS across those of 83. So that's fantastic for this type of learning program, and a 97% completion rate. So people who kick off these tend to stay with them and invest the time, and it's really that investment is paying off. So it's really great to see people coming out the other side with a new skill set. Our offerings are focused on moving in, so people who are looking to start their product career, as well as moving up. And the advanced product management one is really looking and targeting those people who have been in product for a little while and looking to really grow their skill set. I'm going to talk through a few different ways to do that today. And then, of course, moving together, and that's building out that community and really finding opportunities for coaching, mentoring across the community as well. So whether it's you've got good experience and your kind of war stories that you want to share with other people, we want to provide that opportunity for everybody who's part of Colab. And Colab is now looking to partner with different companies as well and create custom programs. So if you do work in an organization that has a number of product people and you're all looking to level up at the same time, Colab can customize and target programs for your particular business. So please do reach out to hello@Colab Cohorts if that is something that you'd be interested in, because the cohorts are very modular. We can draw on different levels of content at any point in time and do have practicing instructors who can come in and support that uptake in your organization. Just to give you an idea in terms of the upcoming cohorts, so we have the product management fundamentals one. So this one's really targeted at entry level product and people not working in product to get a better picture of what it takes to be working in product. That kicks off on September 19th. We have Mastering Product Strategy, which kicks off on October 3rd, and I'll be running the Advanced Product Management, one targeted for New Zealand and Australian product people, which kicks off in a couple of weeks in September 28th. And if you are interested in product leadership, that's another cohort that we're looking to build out. So expressions of interest that you might have in that, if you want to learn more about product leadership, we do touch on that in advanced product management, but we are looking to target a program for that as well. So do let us know. All right, now what you have really come along for. So firstly, we talk about a framework that can change your product practice. The first thing I'm going to do is dismiss that myth, and that is that there's no one framework that will change your product practice, right? Like, I think us in product management, we like to have a toolbox of frameworks, of ways that we can really apply different thought leadership across product. And there's really no one rule to rule them all, right? And I think people working in product will know this. The realities of applying product management versus the theory behind it can be quite different. But what I want to try to do is walk you through, I guess, really a picture in your mind of how you might apply different aspects of product as we go through. And the good thing about this is going to give you a bit of a teaser in terms of how we structure the advanced product management cohort. So if it is of interest and you are looking at how to level up your product management skills, feel free to reach out after the end of this. We do have some additional information that you can draw on to learn more about the advanced product management cohort. But let's start with the product manager MVP. So this is a model. It's probably not unfamiliar to you in terms of your approach to product that you have today. But the thing we talk about with this product manager pyramid is it's almost an idealistic state, right? We'd all love to say, hey, yeah, every day we're working in defining the vision and product strategy for our particular product. The reality of the situation may be quite different. So you can see here that when we look at the different types of disciplines that we have and the things that we do as product people, we could be working in a product that you didn't even have any input into building out the vision or strategy associated with it. So you're really adopting that. And what you're doing is executing towards delivering it. The reality of the situation as a product person is that generally what's going to happen is that we're going to be focusing on one particular area of this pyramid. Some people, I know from speaking to people in the industry, a lot of times we're really focusing on just delivery and execution. And what really happens in terms of our product discipline and where we invest our time is that we're starting to master one level of this particular pyramid. So you can see that we build out delivery execution, and we become a really fantastic delivery person. But it doesn't give us the opportunity to start looking at the other different levels of product, right? Like, so whether it is building out and formulating our understanding of what a vision could be for our product, or where we want to be in 5-10 years time. We haven't talked about, hey, potentially what strategic initiatives do we need to really push forward to be able to deliver value to our customers. We haven't had the opportunity to go out and talk to our customers and determine what markets we want to go after. Some people may be lucky to working across one or two different levels here, but it's very rare that I've come across people who are doing that end to end. And when we talk about that, that's the idealistic state here of what we call the product manager MVP. And this is being able to kind of treat your product, no matter what level, whether you're just working on one domain, whether you're working on a product out of a product suite, to be able to start thinking about how you can apply all elements of this pyramid against your product. So having people who may be solely working in delivery, starting to level up their thinking or step out of the day-to-day delivery to start focusing on building out the next 9 to 12 months of their product. So getting out of that near term, really focusing on the wider term and the opportunities that may be available to them. Hopefully that kind of resonates with you. I'd love to hear if anybody is kind of, hey, look, man, I can recognize that I'm really stuck in a delivery cycle. I don't really have any exposure. Feel free to add it to the chat. Love to get a little bit of a group discussion going there as well. If you are working like this, where you really feel you're owning everything right from vision and crafting that vision and strategy to helping support the delivery and execution, love to hear about that as well. It could be that you're just overseeing that delivery and execution and not working day to day with your team. So I'd love to hear a few different stories from people. The other thing and the reality of product management is often at times we have to work in the in-between phases of this pyramid. And this is really developing our soft skills. And generally, when you look at it, oftentimes we're seen as the glue between the different layers of product. And this is one thing I would be challenging you to think about on a regular basis as well, is how do you really level up those skills when it comes to communication, transparency, some of these things that you have to do on a day-to-day basis that may not necessarily feed directly into that delivery element or delivering value to our customers. In the advanced product management cohort, this is something that we dive into quite strongly, and it's really looking at those soft skills that will grow your product leadership, right? And going, hey, this is where I want to invest my time, no matter what career path you choose, right? Whether it be in principal product management or leading other product people, we all have to develop these skills. And I guess that leads me into really defining your narrative or your approach to product. This is something that's really close to my heart, right? Like I think one of the things that I can recognize is that no two product teams are the same, right? Like we're all working in different domains. We all have different approaches to how we apply product management skills. And one of the things that I get you to try to do when we go through this cohort is really start to think about your approach to product management. One of these kind of aspirational things that we're all trying to work towards is being more product-led, right? So you may be working in an organization that has historically been technology-driven, or you may be chasing every sale, that comes over your desk, right? Without having the ability to step up and look at different markets or different customer segments and really apply strong product management skills to. And you end up working as that delivery manager as opposed to a product manager, right? So you're not doing the core product work or the element that you've been employed to work into. And while you may start looking at product-led being a buzzword, it is within the industry at the moment going, hey, how do we make our company more product-led? What it really, for me, really speaks to is creating that identifiable product market fit by having an aligned company and product strategy, right? And that's where you may work in an organization where you're really clear in terms of, from a product strategy, hey, I know why we're doing what we're doing, but you may not have really, strong exposure to the company strategy. Or maybe vice versa, you may have a company strategy, but no product strategy to do that. And when I think of a product-led organization, it's one that's singing off the same song sheet, right? So that the vision that we have for our company includes the product. It means that to achieve the goals that we have of our company, our product is a central reason of how we'll do that. A lot of companies, and I think this is quite evident through scale up, is that we do tend to chase customizations for specific customers, right? This is the only way we can grow, and we have to do that because it keeps our organization in business. And it's not wrong to do that, but the one thing for us as product people is that we have to keep an eye on the market and on the customers and really identifying who are the different types of customers that we want to be solving for and build our strategy around that, not necessarily the one-off sales that are kind of keeping our business in check today. And I guess the other thing I just wanted to cover here, and as far as strategy, was that there is good strategy and there is bad strategy. And we have kind of 5 fundamental elements that we look for when it comes to strategy. The first being relevant, so representative of the culture and future trends and needs. And it's based on evidence, not just gut feel. So again, I've worked in a number of organizations. I could say I work in an organization today that we make a lot of assumptions based on people who have been in the industry for X number of years, right? And we're not using enough data to help inform our strategy to help move us forward. And that gut feel or those assumptions will only get you so far. They may help derive really big bets for us, right? Like to go, hey, this is an area we believe we should be investing in. But our role as product people is to help validate that or invalidate that, right? And go, hey, we don't think our data is telling us a different story, that we shouldn't be investing in that specific space. And we should be free as as product people to be able to surface that. Needs to be focused, designed with someone in mind. So again, coming back to the point here, we have to be investing some time in terms of understanding our market and who we're targeting from a market standpoint. And if we're not doing this today, whether we're working delivery, building out roadmaps, or really focusing on strategy, we have to have a clear understanding of our market. So if you're not talking to customers, not getting out there, doing the legwork, and constantly just investing most of your time with the team, you're not going to get that view of the world. Measurable, so no hypothesis, no proof. So understand which metrics your product will impact. Again, a number of companies that I've worked with in the past talk a big game when it comes to data. Hey, we know what are the important measures to put in place. You ask them how they're getting that information, how they're using that information, what insights they're getting out of that information. There's very little, and it's not informing their strategy going forward. So having real clear understanding of the metrics that will actually make a difference and are also leading indicators of whether your products are actually solving those core problems is going to be critical to your strategy. Actionable. So a strategy is not an effective strategy unless it tells the team where and how to start. And everybody should be pulling in that same direction. So your strategy, and speaking to the last and final point here, it needs to be clear and communicated, and it's simple enough so that anybody can explain it. With that link back to company strategy, if you have it. So this is, again, part of our core skill set when it comes to being product people, is creating that narrative. And from, just in terms of my experience, I believe 60% of our time should be invested in really creating that narrative and sharing that narrative across your organization. And so we're storytellers essentially when it comes to it. If anybody does have any questions, feel free just to raise your hand or interject as we go through. But we have strategy now. And you would have seen a model like this before. I said there's no one framework to rule them all, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to share a few as we go through. This one you would have seen before. The only difference is I've inserted strategy into the middle. We can't have this build, measure, learn loop without really linking it to our strategy in terms of what we want to be investing in. I often, and again, I think there's a shift in market to start to talk about our strategic initiatives as big bets, as a way to really communicate it to your leadership team that, hey, this initiative that we're going down, it's not guaranteed to deliver the value that we are setting out to deliver. But what we want to be able to do is validate and make sure and use data to help define whether this bet is going to transfer into delivering that value, and then of course making it commercially viable. So it's a good way to kind of frame up potential experiments or things that you want to do in those strategic initiatives that you have. And then of course we move into the build, measure, learn loop. I think one thing that, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here in terms of how you're operating today, but a lot of the work that we get will come from somebody, right? Like, and generally it's going to be somebody within your business saying, hey, I believe this is a good idea. It's going to be worth $1 million to us, right? And then we go, great, cool, let's go ahead and build it. And we just get straight into that build loop without really doing that upfront validation and learning as well. And I think that's where we fall into the trap of not being able to really take an experimental approach to our delivery. So everybody who's done any kind of research around product probably hears about, hey, define your experiment, prove out your experiment, take those learnings and then feed them back into what we're building today. But like from my experience, it's very hard to work in an organization that is open to that experimentation approach to delivering product. And so I think, being able to formulate a hypothesis and really share that, hey, this is a bet that we're going on. We need to do this to learn more, and we're going to do it quickly so that we're not investing a huge amount of time and resource into it, starts to change that narrative. And that's one of the things that I'd be advocating for quite strongly here. And of course, if you don't have a way to be able to measure whether it's making an impact, putting those things at the front of your roadmap, that you need to put in place the ability to have the right measures in place, and also draw the insights out of and learning out of those measures to ensure that data is helping inform and supporting that learning process as it gets fed back in. But what I wanted to do from here is really break that build process down a level. So today, you would have seen, we talked about build, but often at times people are really unclear in terms of how you might tackle that build process, right? Like different organizations will have different approaches to that build process. A lot of them, as I spoke about, probably miss that discovery piece and just jump straight into doing the development because, hey, we've got requirements that were provided by a sales team or an account manager. But at times we have to take that step back, right? And to really lean into the discovery process. This is a model that I've taken and adapted and implemented it in Explore today. So this is our payments product framework. And what we do is we tend to now, with any initiative that comes in place, we will stop and do some discovery. That discovery doesn't need to be a long, big piece of work of 3 months worth of work, but what we tend to do is look at it and go, how do we plan out a piece of discovery that's going to take us through to the next point, right? Where we've learned something that we can then make an informed decision to go next, right? And so the good thing is that we've invested a lot in the planning phase. So we've built out a really clear product strategy. And now we do this kind of divergent process where we start to understand more about specific initiatives that we tackle. And you would have seen an example of this before, Double Diamond, from a design thinking sort of paradigm. I've just extended this to include the validate and nurture side of it. So often we put products out into market, but we don't take the time to measure whether they're actually making a tangible impact to our customers. And that's something that I like to lean on and make sure that our customers are our product teams are really investing in, is what are our measures of success, and are we doing that nurture part and really feeding that, what we learn from that process, back into our future discovery. So you may have something very similar to this that you follow from a product practice standpoint. This helps me to kind of really solidify it in my mind, and so far so good with our product team at Explore, that we're starting to see a lot more discovery happening. We've got people buying into the process, as well as our product teams, but also our leadership teams. So discovery, unfortunately, has become a bit of a buzzword around Explore, but hopefully people are really starting to see the benefits. The other part that I want to really touch on, and I covered this a little bit, where I spoke about us being storytellers, right? So as a product manager, we should have a uniquely high communication bar. And so most functions have a primary output that isn't communication. So our designers, our engineers, they're all building something tangible. But as product people, it's actually hard to say, hey, we've delivered this piece of work without really investing in the story around it, right? So we can do some good discovery and learn something new, but if we haven't really communicated how we got to those validated decisions, it's really hard for us or hard for people to see our tangible value, right? So communication is our superpower. And one of the things that I lean into in terms of the advanced product management cohort is talking about transparency and how we build that into our everyday. So you have to own the narrative for your product teams. And when there's a narrative vacuum, people will creatively fill that with those blanks themselves. And you might not like what they're saying and what they're saying about the product or some of the assumptions that they're using. So it's a good way to kind of remove those assumptions and bold statements that people have by really backing it with evidence-based decision-making and how you really got to those decisions. And when it comes to the different types of communication, I like to break it down into two different kind of categories. One is going to be strategic, and I look at strategic being communication that is intended to communicate alignment to our strategy. So in terms of what we talked about before, our company strategy and our product strategy, you're going to come across different types of stakeholders within your business that have a unique language that they understand, right? So you're going to be talking with senior leaders that may be solely focused on your company's strategy, and you need to evolve your narrative to be able to speak their language. And I look at that type of communication as being more strategic. You also have that tactical type of communication. So it's internally focused, maybe for your product and development teams, and it helps to create alignment, coordination, and support, but also links them to your strategy, right? So whether it be, hey, like as a business today or as a company now, we're focused on, let's say opening up the US market for us, for our particular product. That may be our company strategy that we want to grow in a particular region. And we've got to look at how our product's going to really enable that. So you've got to have a real clear narrative of the things that we're going to be doing today that are going to open up that. And that's what I talk about when I speak of the tactical elements of communication. So how do you make the work that our engineers and designers and things that our people are doing today on the ground, how they can connect the work that they do to our overarching strategy, whether it be our product strategy or our company strategy. Cool. So what I've covered today is kind of 4 key elements of the product discipline and leveling up your kind of product practice. I want to dive a little bit deeper into the individual and how you might approach this yourself. Of course, the advanced product management cohort is there if you'd like to kind of join the type of format, the content that I've kind of been starting to dive into is what we will cover in this cohort. But I want you to be able to walk away with something today in terms of how you might do this and level up your product practice. The first thing to do is really have a better understanding of your skill set, your core skill set, and maybe the areas that you feel that you're not as strong as you might be in today. And you go, hey, out of that product pyramid, I'm really being focused on up to the road mapping. I can build a successful roadmap for a team and deliver to that roadmap really effectively. But there's things like, hey, prioritization or strategic prioritization that I don't have really strong skill sets in, and be able to kind of speak to that narrative. Hey, this is the stuff I'm good at. This is the stuff that I'd love to learn more about and how I might apply some of those things. One of the things we do at the start of the advanced product management cohort is to do a survey and go, hey, what are the types of things that you're doing today so that we can start to customize the content that we share as part of the cohort. The other thing that I'd implore you to do is think about your career path and where you want to go as a product leader. And I always want to kind of refer to us as product leaders everybody who's working in product is a leader today, whether you've got direct reports or not. Sometimes you're leading with authority, sometimes you're leading without authority, but all of us really have that, need to have that leadership skill to be able to have people follow our strategy, right? And so whether you're going down a route of principal product management or managing product people, there's different skills that you need to be able to adapt on. And, having a clear picture in terms of, hey, I want to be at the point where I'm really managing product people. I need to know that, hey, I want to grow a team. I need to have real clear roles and responsibilities for my team so that I can, help support them, lean into the coaching aspect of managing people, and recognizing that a lot of your work may be just built in administration, right? So no matter what type of role that you go down, when you manage people, a lot of your time, 20%, 30% of your time is going to be in that administration or people administration. And of course, leaning into the delegation. So again, speaking from experience, product people tend to dive in deep and want to do the analysis, go on the journey. But at times, especially as we move into managing product people, we need to be able to lean into the delegation and have real clear transparency coming up from your team. And that's a skill that you need to be able to build over the course of time. So having awareness of these particular areas that you want to build for yourself will then lead into how you create a plan and build your personal growth roadmap. I often talk about this as creating a roadmap or a plan for yourself, right? And treating yourself like a product. How are you really going to grow your product discipline? So setting specific goals for yourself, closing those gaps, tracking, monitoring, and adapting that, and continually doing a self-assessment of that. The one thing I would implore you to do is reach out to this product community, right? So Colab's got quite a well-established product community. We've got things like Product Aotearoa, which has got a great set of people. It was fantastic last week for those of you who did come along on Thursday and Friday last week. Just to see how many people are working in product today. And there's close to 300 people attending a conference in New Zealand, which is just one that was born out of New Zealand. And that's just fantastic to see. So there's a community of people out there, and I would implore you to kind of validate some of your thinking and where you're going with a product mentor. But just to give you a picture in terms of where we invest from a cohort perspective in the advanced product management cohort, the first, we break this up over 6 weeks. We have 2-hour sessions every week for 6 weeks, 3 different units. So, and what we cover in those. So week 1, we talk about how we learn and what to focus on. So it's a little bit about the different breakdown of the types of gaps that we have as product people. And then the second week, we focus on product strategy discovery. And week 3 and 4, we focus on selecting the right problem and then how we solve for that particular problem, but looking at different strategies that would take from a senior leadership perspective, right? So how do we manage and lead that work rather than doing the work, if that makes sense? And then the final piece is really leading into those soft skills that I spoke about. The communication aspect, product leadership as a whole, and how we really grow those skill sets as individuals. The great thing about this is that generally we'll find that most people in the cohort are at a similar sort of level, have had similar sort of experiences, so we can kind of lean on that discovery as a group and also share our stories. And I guess just to kind of cover what a cohort may look like, what we tend to have is a weekly session, which is facilitator-led. It's cohort-based learning. We do have access to the videos, so you can watch them after the fact, and also practical tools that you can kind of walk away with and start to apply within your own organization. We have support, of course, and so you can reach out to any of the product mentors via our Circle community. As I mentioned, that's growing. We're now up over 300 members. We do have other events and things like that. For those that did attend Aotearoa's conference, on the day 2, we had a number of workshops that were run by Colab. We've got lots of great content. We just need to get it out there to the people that want to learn about it. So feel free at any point in time to reach out to Colab and find the right type of learning for yourself. Yeah, and we're a community that's based on curiosity, right? So if you've got questions, if you've got challenges that you're dealing with from a product standpoint, you feel free to reach out to any of the people. Most people will know Toby or Adam from the Colab, myself and other people like John who are running some of the other cohorts. But you do have access to a community platform as part of your sign up to our cohorts. It's built on Circle. There's lots of great resources in there, plenty of recordings, plenty of sharing of learning. It is a wonderful resource in terms of, one, hearing from different people within the product community, but 2, being able to kind of pose different problems or challenges that you have and getting feedback from that community. Final piece here, this is the advanced product management cohort. So it's all about growing more senior product practitioners who will learn how to excel in leadership, prioritization, and communication by 6 modules constructed using insights and data from more than 80 top product leaders within the Colab network. And the final slide that I will be sharing today is that we are applications open. And feel free to use the QR code here if you're interested in what I've kind of covered today. I do have plenty of time for questions. We've got about 20 minutes left on this session. So if anybody does have any questions on what I covered today or want to learn more about anything in product, I'm happy to take any questions. There was a lot of talking.
Hi, Anesh. Thank you.
Yeah.
I popped my question into the chat, but I will also ask here right now. So my name is Alena Kushnir, and I have been in a full-time product management role for a little bit over a year, and bringing or to transitioning into product management from many years in testing and test management specifically. So my sort of management, work organization, coordination skills, and strategic thinking muscles are pretty well developed, but I've been mostly applying them in a different domain, and I'm now looking to develop strengths in product management. Which of your cohorts would you recommend as the best fit for someone who's in this sort of a pivoting role?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I've worked with a few different people, all from different enablement functions, and have recommended the product management fundamentals one to them. Now, the reason why, and these are people with really many years of experience working in product, in various product disciplines. But the good thing about the product management fundamentals cohort is it takes a product from conception, right from an idea right through to the end of go to market even. And the thing that I would suggest when working in test management roles is, from a product development lifecycle, you probably have an understanding end to end largely of what I would call everything from defining the opportunity right through to delivering to that, right? But there's also more breadth to that, right? Like in terms of the discovery process and really understanding how you would target specific markets, identifying the right customer segment to go after, identifying the pain point or the problem that you want to be able to solve for, and then right through to go to market and how you position a product and take it to market, and then feed whatever data that you're getting from that product back into the development lifecycle. And seeing that end to end over the course of the 10-week product fundamentals cohort is really useful. And like, even for me, like when I first presented that content, I learned stuff, right? Like, because I've been doing product for 15 years, but to actually put it together in a short space of time and see it come together like that was really useful. So yeah, I would recommend that. The advanced product management cohort is going to be based at a similar sort of level to today. So we're talking more about how you apply this or how you lead this specific stuff rather than how you do the stuff, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Thanks, Anesh. Firstly, that was really interesting talk, and really enjoyed what you shared today. I was interested about the slide you spoke around breaking down the build process, particularly around including validation, in the minds of the business at the end. Often that's the part that feels like it falls off in that product development lifecycle, particularly on roadmaps. Often the end of the roadmap is, or end of the section on the roadmap is seen as an opportunity to move on to your next item, and often not time to go and reflect on those things. How have you kind of built that within the within the culture at Explore, and how do you kind of keep it there in the minds of the business?
Yeah, 100%. That's a great problem, Michael, and thanks for raising that. One of the things that I've been kind of trying to evangelize within Explore is to really roadmap problems, right? Or your bets, or opportunities, as opposed to features. Previously at Explore, when I joined probably just a little over a year ago, everything was spoken about as features. We need to get this feature out the door, without really understanding the why. Like, why are we building this feature? And it ended up being very much just like a laundry list of 10 things that we needed to get done, and the team was measured on how effectively they delivered those 10 things. It was just about delivery. It was just about getting those things out the door without really having a tangible impact to the things that we're delivering. And really that comes down because we as product people are really communicating a roadmap of features. We're going, hey, we're going to deliver this feature by this date. But we're not talking about, hey, we're going to deliver this piece of value or this outcome by this specific date, or even having it open-ended, going, hey, we're going to invest 3 months in this particular problem. We're going to learn what we can over the course of those 3 months, and that's going to help inform our next initiative. And we're going to invest more time in this particular space. So I'd say that's a strategy that you could potentially adopt there. And the other thing that I like to do is remove some of the development work from senior leaders, right? So another good example here is working with project people, where project people are really interested in, how many stories have you completed this sprint? You said you were going to do 15, you delivered 13, it's off track. But maybe that's not the case, right? Like, maybe all you needed to deliver was 13 stories to really understand the next step in the journey. So kind of keeping that behind the veil almost, right? And going, speaking more specifically about the measures of success, or the outcome that you're really looking to drive. And, whether that be at an epic level more so than down to the detail of stories and tasks that you're building. So hopefully that helps, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Anesh. Appreciate that.
Anything here resonate with people, like, and especially when it came to the product manager pyramid? Does anybody feel like, hey, I'm really stuck in the delivery cycle, or I want to get more up into the strategy and vision side, but I don't know how to do it?
Alona, again, in my experience, a lot has been having a sponsor who trusts you and actually creates the environment where you can step up and move into strategy. But I'm wondering what other people's experiences have been.
Yeah, awesome. Like, I think that's very, very valid, right? Like, at times there may be opportunities there, but you may not be aware that they're there, or people aren't looking to you to actually execute those opportunities to lean into that and doing it. But I think that comes down to advocacy as well, right? And I think you're spot on when you go needing a sponsor within your organization that understands the value that you could potentially bring to that problem space. But making people aware of it, right? Like, I think one thing I often challenge people I coach with is demonstrate that you're capable of it, right? Like, if you were to look at your current product that you're working in today, and you at times you go, oh, why are we working on this particular problem? We know that we should be focused on this because it's more important, and we're hearing feedback from our support team that we should be fixing this, or at least getting to the root cause of why that's causing a problem for our customers. Come up with a strategy, or even, hey, these are the types of strategic initiatives I would put in if I was the product manager in the space, or had the autonomy to create and craft this strategy. So have a go at doing that for your own product, and sharing it with people, and just saying, hey, what do you think of this compared to what we're doing today? Or if there's the absence of product strategy, getting in there and trying to fill some of that. But great point, Aliona. Cool. Well, if there are any other questions, feel free. You can reach out to myself on LinkedIn, or to the Colab people on LinkedIn. Happy to help anytime. For those that know me, hopefully know that I am a. Thanks, Natalie, for your comment there. Yeah, I think one of the things that's really close to my heart is growing product people. So generally, I make myself available to anybody who's really interested in product and wants to have a conversation. So if you do have any questions that you kind of come to you after this session, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help at any point. Yeah, I guess the one thought that I kind of want to leave you with is that, from what I covered today, as product people, it's not really about the number of frameworks that we know and are in our tool set, right? It's more about how we apply those, or come up against specific challenges and bust our way through them, and the kind of scars that we get from doing product every day, and thinking, hey, there is a framework that could have helped me with this and steered me in the right direction, or used to help me communicate our narrative of where we're going. So yeah, keep that at the forefront of mind. I really appreciate the questions and comments from people in the chat today. Yeah, and it's great to have you here today. Thanks.